Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I'm drinking out of my Our Lady of Guadalupe coffee mug. The noises you can hear in the background are big trucks turning on and onto and off of the property as there's different construction happening down in the corner, as you know, and the something else happening on our property. I'm going to talk about that in another video. But it reminds me of the different dimensions of life that's evolving in our parish. I want you to imagine four buckets. Boom, 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 boom. Four buckets. So the first bucket is normal parish stuff, the stuff that we would normally expect a parish to do, like, masses, funerals, uh, basic parish stuff. The things that you have to keep on going, Christmas and Easter and all of that. And then there is three special buckets that we've got. And the first and most important of these buckets is what I would call the spiritual and pastoral renewal of our church, to update how we live as a church and how we function to match the contemporary world. Now, by that I don't mean a capitulation to the contemporary world. I mean simply how to be parish in the present world, because many of the ways we do it really date back to how it was done 50, 60 years ago, or even more, a time when the values of society at large were much more aligned with the Christian faith. If you went with the flow, you generally flowed into church. And so that update requires investing in evangelization and leadership development. And so we've been doing that over the last number of years with adults, with youth, with kids. And that's unfolding. That story is unfolding. It's moving. It goes slowly, but it is on the move, that spiritual conversion, that pastoral conversion. Okay, that's bucket number two. Bucket number three, it's what you heard in the background, these trucks that are moving. We are still working hard on the restructuring of our properties, evaluating what is the best use of the properties that were given to us. How can we be stewards so that these properties actually serve the purpose of the kingdom, serve the mission rather than detract from the mission? So we're still trying to figure all that out. As you know, we're looking at a renewal of the physical space here at St. Peter's. And we're working on degree of renewal right now at the space at St. Anthony's. And that work is ongoing. There's actually a lot of exciting news to share with you at some other point about what's happening there. So that's a constant. That's a constant. And the final bucket that I want to share with you and I want to focus on is our outreach to the poor. Now, our parish, I think, had a strong tradition of this, especially here without, discredit in any way to any of the other former parishes. The St. Peter's location, St. Vincent de Paul had a very strong presence with serving meals at Margaret's house and different initiatives, the Backpack Project. So there's a fairly strong tradition of it. But when we amalgamated, we merged our parishes. We basically brought into our parish boundaries the lowest income neighborhood in Atlantic Canada, an area of great need and great opportunity. I think of, it was the story of the Council of Jerusalem, or it was when St. Paul went back to Jerusalem to meet the pillars of the church and to lay down before them the gospel that he preached to the Gentiles. He says, the only thing they asked me to do was to be mindful of the poor. Think of the words spoken to Pope Francis as he was elected. Someone said to him, be mindful of the poor, don't forget the poor. So serving the poor is an integral part of what we do as a church. And we had an incredible opportunity looking at our campus in North Dartmouth. And the question was this: how do we use this campus in a way that's justifiable? And at the time when we were initially looking at that, I think we had about 12% of the time the building actually was in use, to about 12%. That's what we had reached. Well, now I'm happy to say that we estimate, because we haven't sat down and added it all up, but estimate that we're probably close to about 50% at this point, because we've partnered with different church groups, different community groups, and the activity at the St. Anthony's location is actually quite incredible. And this past week, we had a couple of great meetings. We had a great meeting with the folks at First Baptist about the food bank, the Dartmouth Christian food bank, because together we in a sense co-own that initiative. We co-fund it, and it's not so much a partnership with someone outside as it is our initiative taking place in our own building. We had a great conversation around the mission of the food bank and how we can continue to support the food bank. We had a great mission with the folks of Souls Harbor Rescue Mission. Many of you have seen their vehicles on the roads. They do astonishing work, and they're the why for how they, for why they do it is very clearly proclaimed, that it is rooted in their faith in Jesus, their identity as Christians, and the fact that Jesus himself called us to go and serve the least, and in serving the least that we serve him. And so they do incredible work and have been able to secure the trust of government at municipal and provincial levels. And so they've been able to grow, and they're trusted. And we're very blessed and privileged to have them working out of our location. So Souls Harbor Rescue Mission are running part of their mobile outreach out of our location. So they have vans. They go out onto the streets, especially in the evenings, for people in trouble, in distress, to bring aid and assistance and care. They also have taken on leadership and management of the House of Hope. They've reconfigured the space so that 6 men can live there. There's a rehabilitation counselor who lives in there. And that house now is not a standalone. It's now part of a network of houses that house men who are recovering from addictions. And there's a whole kind of pipeline of helping men get back on their feet. They also are looking at establishing a drop-in center in the hall when it's not in use by the food bank. And so the work they do is absolutely marvelous. We have our ongoing work with the mobile food market and what they do on site. And we're renovating right now the chapel to get more space, to make it, to adjust the interior of the chapel to make it proportional to the space that's there. So I want to tell you all that because that fourth bucket that is functioning well. We're getting close to what the dream was, and we look forward to continuing to share with you what is actually happening in and through our parish facilities, and to share with you how it's going to be possible for you, the parishioners, to actually get involved, perhaps in volunteering in some aspect of the outreach program there. There already are a number of parishioners who help, especially with the food bank, and sometimes some help with the mobile food market. But there's great opportunities ahead of us. So please pray for that. Come by and visit the site, the location, anytime. Thursday morning is a great time to come and visit. We have Mass at 9 o'clock, and that's when the food bank is in operation. It's a fairly busy spot. So anyway, God bless. Take care.